Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I'm Rocky. This is Eric.
Yo.
Today, special treat. We have... Oh, I had it too far back. Oh, I'm going to break my knee doing this.
Come on, it's show business.
I know. All right. Today, special treat. We have Rock Oyster, blended Scotch malt whiskey, malt Scotch whiskey, something like that. Robert Barnowski, customer slash fan of the show, sent us a bottle of whiskey, and of course we are obliged to taste it. So
we all but your humble servants.
yes, indeed.
As long as you give us alcohol.
I don't know if I can get this thing open. Speaking of alcohol, shouldn't have had that earlier. No, all right.
You didn't. You
I
lie.
know. Energy drinks, yes. Ooh, blub, 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 blub.
That is some pale freaking... It looks like white wine.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
Wow.
Like, I don't know wines, but it looks very...
It looks like clam juice. Go figure.
Do we not that much?
Are oysters aren't clams. They're not the same species.
I'm just making a mess. Here you go. Sorry about that. I was trying to give some to Mr. Mac. Oh, and speaking of the devil, and he shall appear.
Hey.
It's a hike there around there.
Hello.
It's all kinds of wires and
Yes.
booby traps.
Yeah, we hired a
What are
new
you talking
editor,
about,
so we
Mac?
have more cables now.
We are just in the living room of one of our homes. Can't you tell?
Oh,
this
that's
isn't the
right.
studio.
This
Yeah.
is your basement.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yep.
So while you are there, what tartan are you wearing today, Mac?
This one right here, this would be Stuart Hunting Ancients.
Very nice, very pretty. Very good. All right.
Very stewardy.
Eric, what do you have on today?
McPherson Modern, because nice bright colors for Easter time.
Yeah, you wearing that today inspired me. I went a little kind of Eastery-ish with mine. I did the Stuart Royal Weathered tartan. Has that salmon-y kind of color in
Salmon.
there. Yeah, indeed.
Goes with the oysters.
Yes, indeed. All the oysters.
And exit stage left.
And away he goes.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Who's the character?
Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss. Thank you.
Yes. Exit stage right.
Right.
Yes. All right.
Exit stage right.
We are showing our age. All right.
They're classics.
I don't know if he's
Indeed.
allowed on TV anymore.
I know. All right, so we're going to try the Rock Oyster blended Scotch or blended malt Scotch whiskey.
Splendid Scotch.
Again, it's splendid. We'll see if it's splendid in a second. It is very light in color.
There is no color added, so
I can tell. See, here's my concern. Here's my theory, and correct me out there if I'm wrong, or agree with me if I'm right. I guess the color in whiskeys is often imparted by the barrel and the wood and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when it's lighter like this, and the age, so when it's lighter like this, I'm concerned about the age. It may just be, it's a 12. Yeah, it's Rock Oyster 12, and by 12 we mean days. No, the
I'm only 3.5 years old.
it doesn't have a year on here. It's just
Does
small
it say
batch
what
release.
barrels it was aged in? Is there any notes?
No. Mac has the notes for it. It doesn't have anything on the bottle.
Okay.
yeah, and I don't have anything in my notes that say anything about that either.
Because, it's not...
We are just opening it, so yell at us if you must. But we're trying to, air it out a little bit to let it gas off.
I'll tell you what, when Mac was coming over here, when you were pouring, you just handed me, I got this... it was definitely off-gassing.
Yeah. We tried to do that to
Rather
let some of
aggressive
the alcohol burn kind of off of it. If you let it a scotch or a whiskey sit for about 10 minutes, it kind of mellows out a touch. So, spinning it and sloshing it around kind of helps with that. A little drop of water will help with that as well.
Makes you look cool at parties, too.
Glad you said that, because you know what? The nose of this is wave-soaked rocks and a salty, oceanic, fresh influence.
But, yeah. I.e., what I smelled immediately was the peatiness. Was the alcohol and the iodine.
I was gonna say the bracken, like as you're going down the Jersey Shore, and you get that stench.
My memory
as you go over the harbor.
Yeah,
it smells
I'm
like
not
that.
sure.
Delicious.
Maybe that means something else over in the UK, because here, going down the shore and smelling what it smells like down there, that ain't something you want.
No, it's I definitely smell the peatiness and a little bit of the it's leading the witness a touch, but like the salt, the ocean air kind of a little bit. It's helping my mind's eye. Sinuses. My mind's eye see the rocks off the coast of Isla.
So is it like a good smoky, sweet celebration of the sea?
Arr! I love it. That it is.
How much smoke do you get in the nose?
Am I trying this or what? We're just
I'm still
okay.
nosing.
We're still sniffing.
Don't
Getting
rush
I'm
in,
getting
pal.
impatient.
Don't rush in.
You're
You got to
right.
kiss it first. You got to caress the scotch. Okay.
Maybe a hair smoke? No, not like
Not much.
Not a
Not
lot.
much. I get the peat smell. I don't get the smoke nearly as much.
Yeah.
Just
All right.
the peat.
All right, I'm diving in.
Boom, boom.
To the barrel. Ooh, that's peaty. It's like a mouthful of dirt.
It is.
Oh, it's burns.
Did they?
It's a bit gritty.
Yeah. Like, did they sift the soil before they put it in, or was this including the rocks?
I'm like doing my best impression of Jace's faces here.
So, according to the tasting notes, it's a maritime, salty, and slightly smoky. And it also, the palate is rather sweet peat paralleled with smoke, honey, damp ash, licorice, and late pepper. Not early pepper. Late pepper.
Late pepper, like after, yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm. I gotta add water to
There
this.
is. Thank you. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay, it is peppery. It is peaty. There is some sweetness. I'll tell you what, it does have more interesting legs than I was expecting, considering how pale it is.
A little.
But, yeah.
I'm not spectacular legs, but not too
No.
bad. Not too bad.
As I consider.
As this light, yeah, considering. All right. Water it down a little bit. Did you water it yet or no?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But the finish, it seems like it went, like it spiked and then it died off in a hurry.
It's very short.
Yeah.
Was what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like none of the honey. I'm just
I
getting
don't get that at
the
all.
barely smoke if I'm trying, and I'm just getting peat and a little bit of the pepper on the back end.
No damp ash.
It's dirt. That's what I'm getting is dirt.
Most of my encounters with damp ash has not been consuming it.
I know, that's what when I
More
saw
like
that
getting
note.
it off the bottom of my boot.
Well, like some of the other notes, like on here, it's like a celebration of the sea. I'm like, there's a lot of death going on in the sea.
Yeah,
A lot
I'm
of-
not celebrating
a
a
lot of
whole
fish
lot.
screaming.
I definitely feel like I'm on a 5-year whaling voyage around the Cape of Good Hope, and supplies are running low.
Yes, and this is
Yeah.
the last bottle of scotch. All right, might as well drink this one. I wish I would have had a backup scotch.
Wow,
We don't
we're
have
being
the-
harsh. Sorry, Robert. As we always say,
we will be honest. Yes, yes.
Definitely unvarnished. Which
Unfiltered.
is ironic because this tastes a little bit like varnish. But
If you didn't say it, I was about to.
cheers.
Yes.
Water definitely cut that bite out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely better with
It's
more.
it's more palatable, but it's still not that palatable.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
And I'm gonna say this. It's gotta be a young scotch. It's gotta be young. Like it has to be.
Yeah.
It's as now we did just open it, so we're still getting that, the alcohol burn kind of thing out of it a little bit. But it tastes it doesn't taste smooth like a 16-year, 18-year kind of like comparing like Lagavulin, not Lagavulin, yeah, Lafroig 10 to Lafroig 18. Like you taste how much smoother the longer it rests in the barrel kind of thing. So it's definitely a younger one,
Yeah.
as I'm guessing blended tend to be.
So it's
but-
blended.
Yeah. 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 I don't know what else to say about this. Mac, what do you think?
well. I just got a note handed to me. This just in
Oh,
that we should cut it with salt water.
But bump.
I don't think it would make it taste worse.
Now, if the ocean
God,
did
burning
taste
me.
like this, I would go to the ocean more often.
Fair. If you could get drunk off of dead animals in the ocean, It's all the ocean is. Dead animal, decaying, yeah, blah, blah.
And
All right.
pooping in it.
What do you think? I get a hint of whale urine. It's spectacular on the nose. All right, Mac. Scale of 1 to 10. What are we giving it?
3-1.
3-1. Okay. Okay. Eric?
I was gonna be a little more generous. I was gonna say maybe a 4-1. But it's
This is not a reflection of the fact that it's a gift. So, Robert, forgive me. 2-8. I'm not digging it. Yeah. It's
vatted malt.
yeah. It's too much. And it's not any it's I understand it's almost gimmicky, like like a peat monster kind of thing where it's like, oh, heavily peated, you know. It's that, but it didn't warn you. And I don't get any of the other notes, and it tastes young. It tastes harsh. So, yeah. I think that's about
Yeah, not
that's it for the review.
great.
Not a big fan.
Not great.
Yeah.
Maybe if we were sea captains, we would have a
Well,
different opinion.
then we'd have rum. Thank you very much.
That's true.
Yeah, that's Caribbean sea captains. Scottish sea captains probably have whiskey.
Why is all the rum gone?
Why is the rum always gone? I can't do a Jack Sparrow either.
Fair. All right.
How many impressions do I have to do for this job?
How many insert clips do they have to do?
Right?
How many audience people can? How many demographics
So far,
can we
let's see. We got
affect?
B-52s, Jack Sparrow, sea shanties. Something from SpongeBob would probably go well. It's like,
Aye, aye, kids.
oh,
Who drinks on a pineapple under the sea? Rocky Rager. Absorbent and drunk and porous is he.
it's his liver.
Yes. It's all for science, folks. It's all for science. All right. Boys and girls, you know the drill. Please load in the questions into the comment section. We are here, but your humble servants, to answer questions you have about kilts and Celtic culture. And before we start the show, I'm going to take a quick field trip.
What?
I'm going to go get another scotch.
Oh.
See something that we opened before? Okay, food hobbit. I know like that. All right, okay. I'm going to trade it out. This is for later.
It's always like this. It's exactly
That label's
like this.
pretty neat, though. The
Which?
label on that other the
rock oyster one?
Yeah.
Aye, that
Yeah.
is.
Indeed, indeed.
It'll look great in a bathroom somewhere someday. Filled with aftershave from Avon that nobody ever uses.
Well, maybe that's what it is, aftershave.
All right. Please.
One of these days, some distributor from one of these distilleries or something is going to show up at our door with a baseball bat.
Sue us for libel. Oh, yes. All right. First question. What do we got?
What about housekeeping?
Oh. Housekeeping.
The second
Holy.
time I put my clipboard down.
Yeah.
We have a little housekeeping to do today,
Yes.
folks.
Indeed.
Special news.
Two pieces. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is weird. I'm going to keep doing it, though, now that I've committed to the bit. Two pieces of housekeeping. Number one, after the show, we're always looking for new, fun, different ways to connect with people. So after the show, we are premiering our new show. We call it Loose Threads. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes show. It's just little snippets of things that we do, throughout the day. If we have guests in the studio, like whatever is happening, that's what we're going to try to record. So we're going to try to give you guys a little bit more behind-the-scenes content. Literally 5 minutes after this show, 5:05, we are going to be premiering that show. So stick around. As soon as the show is done on YouTube, tune in, watch
Correct.
it. We want to know what you think. So, spoiler alert, that's going to be the question of the day as well, is I want to know what you think of that.
If my thing works, it will also go live at the same time on Facebook.
Okay.
However, you'll probably have a better viewing experience on YouTube.
As you tend to do.
Sorry, Zuck.
Yep.
Yeah, TikTok folks, sorry, but you know where to go.
Yep.
It's kind of a slice of life kind of a thing.
Yes.
A
Indeed.
little bit of how the sausage is made kind of a thing.
Yes. We want to invade our privacy and our employees' privacy even more than we already do.
Just get rid of all of it.
Exactly. There is no privacy. Cameras in the bathroom. It's creepy.
What was the other thing you wanted to mention? What was the second piece?
Oh, second thing I wanted to mention. We have a brand new tartan in PV. We actually just started doing the Black Watch tartan, weathered in polyviscose. I think Adam has a photo of it back there. Look at that, Johnny
dun,
on the freaking spot.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes, so Black Watch Weather Tartan is now live on our website. It's available. We have a few hundred yards of this. So, yes, if you want something weathered, we wanted to give you guys other options in PV, so it is available now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Short commercial. All right. First
Okay.
question, what do we got?
Alrighty. We're in a jolly mood, so this first one actually is a happy occasion. Our friend from up north, Peter J. Hutchinson.
Santa? No.
No, the other friend from up north. Peter J. Hutchinson says, I'm getting married in 6 months, and will be having a piper play me and my groomsmen in at the beginning of the ceremony. What songs, traditional or non-traditional, would be good options?
Okay.
I happen to know that Peter is a fellow Klingon fan, so kapwa and all that.
Okay, so good question. Good songs, traditional and non-traditional. Okay.
I have a sort of a cop-out trick answer for this, but you go first.
Okay. The classic highlight or the classic kilt related wedding song is Highland Cathedral. That's a really good one. A lot of bagpipers know that particular song. It's great with the bagpipe band because there's a spot where they all kind of come in together. But even as a solo piper, that's a really good one. There are a ton of different bagpipe songs, and I'm very, very bad with names. If it's, I think he said it's for him and his groomsmen coming in.
Correct.
Okay. The one that I did for my wedding, my wife and I were kind of talking about, what song we wanted to come to. We had a bagpipe come into, or she wanted to come into. We had a bagpiper for our wedding. Miss you, Tom Miller. He's not dead. I haven't seen him for a while. So anyway, we talked to him. She wanted to play the Stewart, like the White Banner of the Stewarts or something, which is what's the Pembroke?
It's a Pembroke.
Yes. And I wasn't thrilled with that particular song. It was very like eerie, kind of like funeral-esque, eerie sounding to me. So we wanted something a little bit more upbeat. So we went with a song called "Leaving Port Askaig." Askaig is how you say Askaig or spell Askaig. That was a neat one. It was kind of a little upbeat, like better tempo, more celebratory than crematory for a wedding kind of thing. So that would be my one is the one that we used at our wedding. But any fun, upbeat, jig reel kind of good, happy intro music. Yeah, jig/reel/
Jig reel.
Good thing. Yes. Your thought.
My thought is, since you said non-traditional tune, you actually, here's the secret is you could basically use any tune, almost any song you want, as long as it is a simple enough melody that the pipes can handle it. You only have 9 notes, I think, 9 notes for a bagpipe.
I think so.
So you can't change octaves. So you basically need it to be a simple enough melody that it's going to sound good. So I would not recommend something like, Harder, Better, Faster by Daft Punk, but you might be able to get away with a folk song that you just happen to like. Any folk song will work.
Okay.
And a simpler tune could work. So I would think about it in 2 ways. Like do something traditional, like you said, for coming into the ceremony with the groomsmen, and then pick something fun and contemporary for when you guys enter the reception. So you actually get 2 bites of the apple and you get 2 different vibes on the same day, and it can be a lot of fun that way.
Yes.
Because I couldn't make up my mind as to a tune, that I think would be the right energy for groomsmen to come up.
Yeah. I would say for now. Okay. Let's get weird about it. Because that's what we do. What would you say for coming into the reception? Something fun, upbeat, Celtic-y, with a Celtic twist. For coming into the reception.
Well, since Pete is a Trekkie, I'd probably do the next gen theme, which I think maybe that would work on the pipes. I don't know.
Okay. Now I wasn't thinking necessarily pipes, just song in general. I was going to go like "The Gang's All Here" by Dropkick Murphys or something like that. Something that's a little, camaraderesque. I make up words. Camaraderesque. Yes.
Do. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank now.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's all you get.
Those
are our thoughts. Leaving Port Askaig or Star Trek themes.
That's only because it's Peter. But,
Fair.
And I know him, so.
Fair.
And I would have to assume that his bride-to-be is also a Trekkie, because there's no way you could possibly marry him and not be.
Fair. Mr. Mac, do you have anything? You look quizzitive.
The only one that came to my mind was the ballad by Limp Bizkit, Nookie. Was the only one that came to my mind.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Piper Alley, think you can do that one?
She can do anything. Whether she's willing
That's true.
might be another answer.
If she can do the theme song
From Full House.
Full House.
Na 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 na.
Yeah, no, horrible.
That would actually work pretty well
Yeah,
for a reception. Yep.
yeah, not for the Nookie though. Mac is fired from wedding planner. All right. Yeah, he's available. Let Mac plan your wedding.
Very reasonable rates.
Yeah. Very short
You can
reception.
definitely afford it.
All right, Mr. Mac, what do you got coming in from the YouTubes and the Tickety Talks and the other stuffs?
All right, so I got one from YouTube, which I think there's a good deal of people that have this problem. We have Luke, who is also from the UK, so he says good evening.
Cheers.
Question
Cheers.
about kilts. How do you stop the back of the kilt from dropping lower than the front at the top round the waist? Mine keeps dropping at the back a little.
All right. I'm assuming that our friend here, he has a problem with the kilt dropping in the back, and essentially that is because the weight of the kilt. If you're wearing an 8-yard kilt, you have 6 yards of fabric in the back and 2 yards of fabric in the front.
Right.
So the weight leans towards the back a little bit. And different guys have different problems with the kilt shifting back or shifting forward for some guys. If it's shifting to the back and dropping down in the back, it probably means you suffer from what we affectionately call noacetol disease, where your kilt, you have no rear end to help hold the kilt up. In that instance, my suggestions are essentially twofold. Either one, you wear the kilt tighter, which will help it. It's basically just by the force of it staying on by the buckles and straps cinched around your belly. That would help it potentially stay up a little bit. Option B, which I hate to offer, but I'll say it anyway because it'll work if you have a vest on, is wear a pair of suspenders or braces for those in the UK. It helps kind of, keep it up. But I don't love the look of braces or suspenders with a kilt, which is why I suggest wearing a vest or something like that.
Vest
so that
or
way,
sweater, cover it up.
Yeah, sweater, vest, waistcoat,
Yeah.
for covering it up while you're wearing it.
We have a few people who do that because of various body shape issues, and occasionally we have it's gentlemen who are older and they've lost some weight in the process of growing older, and so the kilt that fit them just fine isn't fitting as well. So it's safer to have the braces on, but yeah, you can't do that without a layer over the top. Do you think it might have anything to do with the fitting of the kilt? I don't know where he acquired the kilt. Is this a matter of the precision of the waist measurement at all?
Potentially.
Okay.
I didn't even think to go that direction, but yeah, if you have a hip measurement, which is around the widest part of your rear end, if it's a secondhand kilt, or the hip measurement is just too big, or you've lost weight and you've lost it in your rear end, or as you've aged, you sit on your butt all day at work and your butt kind of flattens out a little bit, which actually does happen. It could be a little bit of that. I don't think you're too far off with that. So yeah, it could be that. Now, a lot of guys have the opposite issue to this, where especially if you have a little bit of a belly in the front and a little bit of a bubble butt, or your butt sticks out in the rear, what ends up happening is your belly can push down the front of the kilt and it goes up in the back. So from side view, instead of being level around the side, it's kind of up in the back and down in the front. And then you end up with the opposite problem where the front of the kilt is down below the bottom of the knee, and then the back of the kilt is up a little bit on your hamstring in the back. So and essentially they run into, the advice isn't too much different, which is, well, it's a little bit different where it may be like wear the kilt up a little bit higher, up just above the roundest part of you, but it's also where it's snug above the widest part of you so that it doesn't droop down in the front or droop down in the back.
Which can feel weird. I was going to say, definitely check your measurements and make sure you are wearing the kilt at the navel, above the navel where you're supposed to, because that could be affecting how it's hanging on you also. That might be just the easiest thing. There might be an easy solution. It may just be that you're not tightening it down enough. You need to crank it down a little bit more, especially if you have a soft, fat belly. Yeah, it could be a number of different factors, but I would make sure your measurements are good and you're wearing it at the proper height.
Yeah.
Just to see.
I will, and if you're doing all this and you're still having the issue, I would potentially suggest getting a 5-yard kilt, or a 4-yard kilt, something with a little bit more balance to it. If you think when you're wearing a kilt, when you're making a kilt, if it's 8 yards, you have essentially 1 yard for the front apron, 1 yard for the the under apron, and then the front apron, and then 6 yards across the back. In a 5-yarder, you have same 1 yard, 2 yards, and then 3 yards across the back. So it's a little bit more balanced front and back. So maybe it's if it is the weight of the pleats in the back hanging, pulling it down a little bit more balance front and back might help them with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Hope that helps.
I do hope it helps.
All right. What do I got next? We have next. Excuse me.
Right. It's my turn.
Yes.
Jeff Martin. Jeff Martin says, I'm getting my first kilt soon. From you guys, in fact.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I'm wondering what it takes to be a good kilt ambassador. I've heard you guys talk about this many times, but nothing in detail on what I should know or do to be a kilt ambassador. And just for anybody, any first-time viewers out there, Kilt Ambassador is a segment we do where we call out somebody and do a short video on them, highlighting some aspect of their life as a kilted gentleman.
Yeah, or woman.
Or woman.
The when we're referring to good kilt ambassadors, the underlining subtext is just be a good human. Start there. Don't be an ass. So whenever you go out in public, whether it's wherever you go, you're representing something. Whether it's, if you're wearing your company shirt, you're representing your company. If you're, wearing a military shirt, you're representing, the military. Whether you know it or not, you kind of are. It's like you're projecting outward, this is who I am. These are the tribes that I am part of. These are the groups that I am part of. So if you're wearing a kilt, one of the things that we want to really underscore for everyone wearing the kilt is be a good kilt ambassador. When you are out in public, be a good human, be nice to people. And really the best, most, easiest example I could give is when you're in a kilt, you are going to get people coming up to you, talking to you because you are wearing something different that they are not used to.
Yep.
And it is a great conversation starter, whether you want it to be or not. So when you're wearing a kilt, you have to realize or at least the way I think of it is, I am now an ambassador of this. If I am the only person this person ever meets in a kilt, if I'm a complete jerk, it's going to speak negatively of other guys or other humans wearing kilts. So just when someone comes up and wants to talk to you, take time out of your schedule, take time out of your day, and just be nice to them, interact with them. They're curious. They want to know why you're doing it. Why are you wearing a kilt? Where are you going? Or they want to tell you about their trip to Ireland in 1972 and how they saw a kilt over there, and this is so awesome. So that's really what it boils down to, is just making sure you're being respectful of other people in the circumstance that you find yourself in, because you're going to find yourself in circumstances that you would not otherwise find yourself in pants. I mean, people don't normally approach me when I'm wearing pants, but they will if I'm wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't look approachable.
Well, there's that. You do have that kind of, angry face. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, the corollary I would offer, that's basically it, but the corollary,
Not coronary.
Not coronary, I would offer is that there's all kinds of different walks of life and different personalities who get into wearing the kilt for different reasons. But I do think we have some certain common threads, like, no pun intended, usually you're a bit more of an individualist,
Yep.
a bit adventurous, interested in trying to, get more out of life, just treat life as an adventure. So we do tend to highlight people who are out there doing cool, awesome things that they could just as easily be doing if they weren't a kilt wearer. But the kilt wearing is kind of like an added emblem to the world that, I'm not here to take life for granted. I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to enjoy this while I'm here. Just that adventurous spirit, or just that good, big-hearted spirit, because there's a lot of people that we highlight are people who do charity work, or community work, like there was the Continue Tartan recently. So it's stuff where it's basically like the kilt is one part of this awesomeness that is just represents, like I'm not content being an average Joe. I want to really enjoy life and make the most out of it. So the whole point is to encourage you to be interested in kilts, but also just to be interested and encourage you to be yourself, and don't just sit on the fucking couch. Go out and live your life. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I would also add this to the mix as well. Outside of being an ambassador, you're helping other people who either A, have questions, or B, are interested in it but don't know where to start. So people are going. That's the reason why we give business cards out, because here, we want our customers to hand business cards to people, because you're gonna get asked, where did you get your kilt? Where do I go? Where do I learn about things? So helping people start. It's putting good karma out in the world, if you want to use that kind of thing. It's people need that that little bit of encouragement, that little bit of curb to get over in their brain to start. Sometimes people just want to ask you questions about why you're doing it. They're generally just curious.
Yeah.
Other times people are going to come up to you and be like, "That's awesome. I've always wanted to wear a kilt. I didn't have the guts. How did you get into it? How did you start? Where do I go? I have all these questions." And helping those people do it will help build the community of other people wearing a kilt. So maybe you won't be the only one in, Podunk, Illinois, wearing a kilt if you are more open about talking to people about wearing your kilt.
I have family in Podunk, Illinois, so I just
Sorry
want
to
you know
Podunk, Illinois.
I'm insulted now.
I was going to go Podunk, Illinois.
I think it's funny you
Oklahoma,
mentioned the business cards after all that. It's like, by the way, here, buy it from these guys.
No, because it's not from an aspect of promoting our. I don't care whether you give our business cards or somebody else's. It's they need to know where to start. It's a punch card, yes.
Punch card from Rita's Ices.
The people don't know where to start. Like when I first started, wearing kilts, I wanted to do it and I didn't know where to start, so I started just poking around online. Thank God, now there's a lot more resources and a lot more stupid guys on YouTube talking about, this stuff. But, when I first started, I didn't know how to get into it. I didn't know where to start. It was a daunting thing. There's so many things that you had questions, you don't know where to go for answers.
Right.
So that's what you should try to do. That's what we try to do, is be that for other people. Help them on their journey. Help them start it. And it will, it'll come back to you in some way or another.
Yep. Man, the kilt is a man and a half.
Indeed. Sometimes there's two of us.
There you go.
Yes. Mr. Mac, did you have thoughts, or are you just
No, I'm just getting ready for
staring
the next
blankly?
question.
Sure.
He's waiting for
You
us to
said
shut up.
there's, sometimes there's two. Sometimes there's more like three.
Yeah. I'm with child.
This this kind of goes down a similar rabbit hole. Brian on YouTube is asking, having not done any heritage research, I don't know of any Scottish or Gaelic lineage in my bloodline, but generally enjoy wearing a kilt. What's a good response to the questions of lineage?
I get this one all the time. In a similar way, like, why are you wearing a kilt? And I am not Scottish.
Gasp.
It's not a secret. When you talk to someone and they ask you about your heritage, are you Scottish? It's because, I've said this before, people want to put things into boxes in their brain. So if you're wearing a kilt, this is like, it's an anomaly, so it's kind of hovering around a few different boxes, and they try to figure out what box to put you into. And then they say, are you Scottish? Are you Irish? Why are you wearing a kilt? And
Are you in Brigadoon?
are you in Brigadoon? The next question will be, are you a bagpiper or are you at the Highland Games?
Yep.
They want to figure out how to classify you. And if I want to torture people, I will just give them the one-word answer of like, nope, not Scottish. And then wait for them to come back with, okay, but then like, okay, cross off that box. Now what box do I put them in? Are you Irish? Are you Welsh? Are you, and if I want to let them off the hook, I will say, I'm a kilt maker. And, oh, okay, then it makes sense. Whew. Whew. All is right with the world. Now I can understand
You're
this
allowed.
person. Yes, you're
officially
allowed.
now.
Yes. But there doesn't have to be a box to put people in. And you don't, frankly speaking, you don't owe people a response. You should probably be nice to them, and you shouldn't be a jerk like I am. But you don't owe someone an explanation of why you are wearing a kilt. It could literally be as simple as, nope, I just love kilts, and I think they're super fun, super comfortable, and this is a universal tartan that I'm allowed to wear. It's like if you wanted to go that direction with it, you could just say, nope, I just like wearing them. Mm-hmm. And that is really all the explanation that should be required.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't like that, and sometimes you will run into people who are going to be jerks about it. My one example is I was at a public gardens once. My wife and I were there for like a Christmas thing, and I was wearing a kilt, and this guy from England, asked me if I was Scottish. I was like, no, I'm an American, and I, mostly Norwegian actually, and he was like, oh, you're not Scottish and you're wearing a kilt. Oh, and he just pretty much followed us out of the gardens that night. He was like, hey, look, this guy, he thinks he's Scottish. He's wearing a kilt. Oh, and I was just like, piss off, dude. So you will occasionally run into jerks, and you just kind of just have to decide to take the moral high ground and have a Coke and a smile. Bless your heart. But honestly, you can. It depends on how much psychic energy you want to spend in the moment. Do you want to explain? Look, tartan is Scotland's gift to the world. Lots of people wear kilts. I'm a big fan of the culture. I respect the heritage and the history. Blah 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 blah. Or you can keep it simple. Choose your moment. Choose your battles, and don't lose any sleep over it. Because some people will just be like. Conversely, like we were saying about ambassadors, there are some people who are like, oh, I love kilts, but I'm not Scottish. I didn't think I could wear one. You're saying I couldn't. And you'd be like, yeah, you totally can. As long as, say it with me, you're a respectful student of the culture.
Yep.
So that's what that's about. Pretty much.
Yeah.
You can't always satisfy them because you're not going to fit into their easy boxes. And that's just the way life is sometimes.
And I would also say, you don't need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
choose
you're wearing,
your battles.
Yeah. And if you're wearing a kilt, you obviously have the confidence to go out in public wearing a kilt. You do not need their approval, their disapproval. It shouldn't matter. It is the anger is a gift you can leave with the other person. If they get, uppity about something, be like, cool, have a good day, bro.
Pretty much.
And just let them be angry about it. And who cares? Let that live with them and just go about your day.
And sometimes there's the jealousy factor, like you're doing something that they don't have the guts to do.
Yeah.
They're assuming they would never do something that wasn't within the box. So when you say you're not in the box, they're just like, you're stronger than I am. That makes me scared.
Yeah. Or you could come up with a witty comeback now and again. Like if you're
right.
your English guy comes in and gives you the crap, he's like, I get it now. What? I know why the Scots hate you English now. I get it. You're assholes. It just clicked. But you got to be quick with that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I do have Scottish ancestry, but it's not the bulk of my family tree.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can say that, just saying it's like, well, I'm part Scottish, and I really freaking love the culture. But anyway, we're shaggy dogging here. But
indeed.
Good
luck. Mr. Mac.
Enjoy your day.
That was you.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, that's how short-term my memory is.
Yep. Some guy named Joe Groves.
Little Joe Groves.
Joseph of the Grove. He's a fruit picker, actually. Joe Groves says, I have a couple of kilts where the under apron hangs 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch below the front apron, but they are technically even at the top. What are your recommendations? He wants to know if there's something wrong with his kilt because you can see the under apron.
Mac, I'll throw to you at some point on this one. Just to confirm or deny my ramblings.
Ooh.
Sometimes when a fabric is finished. Well, first, when you make a kilt, the front apron and the under apron should essentially be the same length. So if your kilt length, the overall length, top to bottom, is 24, the front apron from the very top of the waistband to the very, very bottom edge should be 24 inches. Same thing with the under apron. When we make kilts, typically we kind of, on the under apron, we'll start at 24 over here by the reverse pleat, and then just sort of start tapering down ever so slightly till you get towards the other end where we're down about quarter, half an inch, just to make sure that the bottom doesn't stick down below the bottom of the kilt. However, one thing I've noticed is some mills, and it's not all the time, it's not on every bolt, but some mills, if it's an 8-yard kilt, I'm going to order 4 yards, cut it in half lengthwise, and then put the other piece over here, splice it in the center of the back. Before we got that cloth, when it was finished, when it was sent to the finishers over in the UK, it is actually stretched out on tenterhooks and finished. They actually wash the fabric and that kind of thing and let it kind of dry. One problem is that occasionally it'll be a little bit longer on one end of the bolt than on the other half, or on one side of the bolt than on the other side of the bolt. So let's say if the bolt is 60 inches wide, for easy math, the zero end through 30 and a half or 31 is the dead center, and then 29 and a half or 29 through 60 on the other end is the other side. So when you cut that and splice it, it may be one part is a touch longer, like the front half maybe a touch shorter than the back half or something like that. It depends on how the fabric is finished or how it's woven. So once in a while, we'll get a piece through like that, and we try to catch it and make sure that we're using the slightly longer piece on the front half of the kilt, or we're stretching out the fabric as best we can as kilt makers to make sure that it's, even the entire way around. Mac, is this something that you've experienced in your kilt making travels as well?
Oh yeah, there's one mill in particular that has a hair in it.
Should we name names? I don't know if we should name names, but
Don't
anyway,
name names. Let's be nice.
It will be nice.
It'll be nice today.
Okay. Well, kind of already hinted at it, there's a. It seems like in particular they are more notorious for it than the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's not on every piece.
No, it's not every piece. I'm
Maybe
just saying if
15% of the pieces.
Yeah, out of the ones that we get, it's more likely I can go, oh, this is.
Yeah.
So.
Now they're all going to want to know. It's like, oh.
That drives interaction
I know.
in the comments.
Let
That's
us
good
know
for
in the comments
algorithm.
below who you think it is.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you, but let us know who you think. Yeah, it's something that, kilt makers kind of have to work around. It's something that I actually say there's 2 mills. Another one.
Yeah, we deal with more of a bacon edge with them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's
I got Eric thinking.
Yeah.
kilt makers. We are the last stop, because it's our name on the kilt, not the mill's name necessarily. So it is up to us to make sure it passes muster, and we're either fixing what they have screwed up, or if it's real bad, hey, yeah, you sent us a piece of cloth, piece of crap, you got to come pick this up, send me another one. We had that the other day where the warp threads and the weft threads were a different shade of green. Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. It was like ancient green this way and modern green this way.
What?
Oh, yeah.
And they
sent
it to you? They shipped it?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody caught it?
Nope. And I just called them up and was
Oh,
like, yeah,
wow.
here's a picture. I'm not passing this along to a customer. You're going to have to credit me for this. And like, oh, our whole bolt's like that. Great. I'll get it from somewhere else.
Creates a great 3D effect, though.
I was about to say, it's
Yeah. Now,
for a limited time.
Yeah.
now there's things happen, and it's up to the kilt makers to try to, guard against those things, because once the kilt is made, it's on us.
So you're saying is we're the last in line.
Indeed.
We'll know for the first time if it's crooked or in line with the last in line.
Indeed. Exactly.
What? No Dio fans out there?
No. I didn't know where you were
Showing my
going.
age.
See, I wasn't going to
It's a
say
vintage-
anything.
It's a vintage heavy metal reference. Don't worry about it.
Fair. No, I was never a Dio fan for metal. I was more like
Shut your
Testament,
mouth.
Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, Prong. Yeah, Prong was good. Helmet was
Okay.
not a good one. It wasn't really metal,
Helmet?
but was
Really?
good. Oh yeah, dude, I loved Helmet.
Really? I felt like they were one-hit wonder, but whatever.
Well, a lot of their songs sounded the same, but here's what it was. A guy on my hockey team had a Helmet sticker on his helmet.
So
It's
he
spectacular.
didn't forget.
Exactly, Helmet. Yes.
I have a feeling that joke probably was across the nation at that time.
Yes, it was spectacular.
probably-
I loved it.
Oh, look, I'm clever.
I had Tool and Danzig. I think were my two on my helmet. Yeah.
Danzig, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
indeed. Mother.
Anyway,
Yes. How the hell we got on this topic?
because I'm very tired.
Yes,
And
indeed.
I was trying to come up with something funny to contribute because I can't talk about the technical things of cloth because I'm not a
What
filmmaker.
good are you?
I'm not good for much either.
That was you.
But they love me.
We all love you.
You don't want me to get fired, right?
All right, I won't fire this week.
No, wait, that was mine. So the next one is
Yep,
Matt's,
Mac.
actually.
Yep.
So,
All right, so we got two questions that kind of go right hand in hand here. We have Stray Cat and JF73. So they're talking about sealskin sporrans. So if you find an antique sealskin sporran, maybe something 50 years or older, can you still purchase it and import it into the U.S.? And if you find one in the U.S., is it legal to purchase? And is there other traditional skins that would be a good option instead of seal?
like an alternative.
Yeah, yeah.
Alternative.
Yeah.
For the look or just for the gravitas?
It just
Yeah. either
sure.
way. Okay.
Yeah. For sealskin is the most popular skin in for sports. It is traditionally speaking, it is a very, very hard wearing skin. It has a nice luster to it, a nice sheen to it. It doesn't rub off easily over time like rabbit fur or something else can kind of shed over time. So it is a very, very hard wearing fur that is traditionally the bee's knees. In the U.S., obviously, we are not able to get sealskin. So the closest approximation to sealskin, which has shorter hair and it is reasonably hard wearing, is bovine or cow. So most sporrans you see in the U.S. are going to be, or that are sold to the U.S. market, are going to be cow, or something a little different, like badger or musquash or muskrat. Fox is another big one. Raccoon is another good one. So, but the problem that I have with most of those is they tend to be a longer hair and a little poofier. Yeah. The good thing about seal is that the animal it's a fatter animal, so it retains its heat in its fat, not in the fur, versus like a fox, which is a skinnier animal, but it retains its heat in the actual fur itself, the down in the shorter, in the softer
Undercoat.
fur. Yeah, undercoat.
The undercoat.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
I don't think you finished answering the question.
What was the other part of the question? And I threw
What
to
do
you
what
because
do
I forgot what the other half of the question was.
What do you do if you find an antique sporran,
Yes.
or if you find one here in the States? Is it legal to own? Is it blah blah blah? I'm guessing there's some kind of leeway if it's an antique and you're buying it as an antique, not as a garment.
Yes, I would.
But
I would
don't
say
know. I mean,
don't publicize that you're buying the thing. I see. I don't know. We are not legal scholars. Not legal advice. Warning across the bottom of the screen. It's one of those where I've seen, sealskin sporrans sold into the U.S. before. I've seen companies in the U.S. selling sealskin sporrans before. When we first started the business back in 2003, there was a Celtic Craft Center, I think it was called. It was a store in the UK. They also had a location in California, and they were raided by the wildlife, fish and game, wildlife, whatever it is. Insert government agency here, because they were selling sealskin sporrans in the U.S. and they just confiscated all the stuff. they're no longer in business, and they closed up that shop in California. But you are not allowed to sell sealskin in the U.S. Now, is it done? Sure. Do sporrans slip through? Sure. Are they, categorized for customs purposes, maybe, as bovine? And do customs agents know that this is sealskin and this is bovine? No. Are they looking that closely? No. Can you probably slip it through? Yeah, probably. If it's a one-off kind of thing, sure. I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to have stuff confiscated. But it is technically illegal to buy sealskin stuff in the U.S. There's probably some kind of, as long as it's pre whatever the ban was, and or you can prove that it was created and originally sold pre whatever the ban was, similar to like ivory, I would assume, or like antique firearms from like pre 1898 or whatever the weird year is.
Having some sort of like certificate with it that's stating that on there in some way.
Yeah, you might be able to do something. Another like weird one, our sporran maker over in the UK, Greg, bought a tiger skin rug at an estate sale that was made, and he had the provenance of it. So he made tiger skin sporrans, but it was from a rug from like 1903 or something. So there are kind of potentially ways around the thing, but not easy necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I know they changed the laws a few years ago to make sure that indigenous peoples who were hunting got their fair due for the pelt, and the pelts each pelt now has like a serial number saying yes, it was hunted by so and so on such and such a date. Yeah. So they're trying to cut out black market materials and stuff that way over there.
That was.
I don't think that has a bearing on what we're talking about, but
no, because U.S. is still illegal.
Yeah, it's just a fact.
No, but what you're referring to is where we actually ran into a problem as well was there was sealskin sporrans have been a thing for a long time, and then in the late 2000s, early 2010s, there was a ban in the EU on sealskin, period, where it was legal. And there was a huge pushback and a huge lobby from indigenous peoples in Canada basically saying, this is our livelihood. Like, we survive by getting seals and selling the pelts and selling, the parts of the animal. So you're killing us. So what ended up happening was there was kind of a little, okay, you guys are allowed to do it, but we need a serial number. So each seal that is harvested is essentially given a serial number, and you have to trace that all the way through the process. So it was repealed, I want to say like 5 or 6 years later. In the interim, we had problems, and all of Scotland had problems getting bovine for sporrans because everyone was buying bovine because it was the best substitute for seal. Now they've repealed that. And what you're talking about is, I know that like Greg, for instance, puts a little laser etched tag on the side of his sporrans to say, okay, this is the serial number for this particular seal, so that he's able to be within the bounds of the law and do that going forward. Yep.
So what about are there ways people are trying to make bovine look like sealskin, and is it any good?
I wouldn't say that there's ways that they're making it look like sealskin. They're just doing it. Now, but back to the problem period, the troubles of sealskin period. What ended up happening was there's not that many gray cows. Gray is by far the best color look for sporrans, because A, it matches anything. B, it's the closest look to sealskin, because most sealskins kind of got a gray hue to it. But most cows are like either black and white speckled, or they're white, so they would have to dye. Yeah, and people weren't buying white sporrans. They just didn't want them at the same level that they wanted gray ones. So there was what ended up happening was the industry was getting very creative, and they would either just dye the cows, the bovine, black, but not everyone wanted a black sporran. A lot of people wanted gray. So certain companies took to dyeing their white bovine gray, but it looked like primer. It didn't look great. It was very flat, where seal has like a luster to it and a shine. The bovine that was coming out, it looked battleship gray was the color that they called it. And it wasn't really good, so it didn't take off. A lot of companies started playing around with like fake fur. So they went to the fashion industry and they were getting like fake bear or fake fox and things like that. I actually, my wedding sporran was a fake wolf sporran, or gray wolf. So it would have been around 2008, 2009. If I'm thinking about my wedding date, is when this ban went into effect. Yeah. Now we've gotten, seal in the past, like way back when we first started. We were ordering sporrans and not stating, hey, we need bovine because we're in the U.S. And we would occasionally get seal sporrans in, and we're like, we're not supposed to have this. What do we do? Scoob, I'm scared. But you're not allowed.
Yep.
So there you go. Rambling stories.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but
kind of.
I'd say if you find something in an antique store, you're fine.
I would buy it. I wouldn't worry about it. Here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't take it to Scotland on a trip. If you're going to go on a trip to Scotland, don't bring a seal sporran. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get over there and it's going to be fine. And then you're going to come back. And if customs stops you, or the office at the airport stops you and looks through and says, this is seal, they're going to take it from you. So if you're an American, leave your seal, and you happen to have a sealskin sporran, leave it at home if you travel. Get a cheaper bovine one or go buy one over there. And worst case scenario, mail it back to yourself. So that way you can get one over there and mail it back. And, if you want to lie to customs and send it through, I'm not going to tell. But that's how I would do it.
Leave the seal sporran at home.
Indeed. Yes.
Billy Joel.
We didn't start the sealskin. It was always burning. All right.
James J. Walker. So J.J. Walker. That's awesome.
Dynamite.
Okay. Dynamite. James J. Walker says, hey, I got a question here for you. How do you all at USA Kilts recommend treating your leather goods? Is there a preferred product? And this is one of those things where your mileage will vary. Everybody's got an opinion on this, but what would you say?
My treatment of leather goods. Let's go pre 2 months ago and now. My treatment of leather goods pre 2 months ago was, I hope it survives. There was no treating my leather goods. It was like, I hope I don't scuff these boots, so I don't got to polish them ever. This sporran that I'm wearing now, it was, hope it didn't get too grimy and it didn't show on film. No, it was the more abused, the more worn, the more loved it was, the better it was for me. Whether that's sporran straps, whether that's the kilt, the straps on the kilt, whether that's the sporran, whether that's my gillies, whatever it was. About 2 months ago, we started talking about brown sporrans and stuff, and I got a wild hair, and I decided, I should get some brown shoes, just so I can get some brown sporrans, and then started playing around with it. So after I got brown shoes, I was like, I should probably get some shoe cleaning stuff and some care items to treat the leather. So I ended up doing minimal, and I'm saying minimal, research on different ways to condition leather and things like that. So I got something called leather honey that I find is pretty cool. I tried it on this sporran that I'm wearing now because I noticed the top of it, from me just kind of putting my hand there or from opening it or from rubbing against the bottom of the buckle, my sporran started to lose the finish on top, like the veg tan finish on the top of the leather started, the luster came off. So I put some of the leather honey on there and it restored some of the luster to it. And I did that on that sporran. I did it on my brown sporrans that I had. It worked. It took a little bit of the scratchiness away. It didn't return it to original condition, but it helped condition it a touch. I might consider doing it on leather straps. If you wet wash your wool kilts, and or it's an old kilt and the leather straps are kind of, old and abused. and or cracked or starting to crack or look like they might crack or they're kind of stiff, maybe some leather honey or some leather conditioner might work well for you. Yeah, that's something I would probably try. So yeah, play around with it. It's not, I don't think you can do too much wrong with conditioning leather other than like letting it soak in too much. Or if you have a sporran strap, for instance, if you try to, you put too much leather conditioner in that, it could maybe get soft and stretch a little. But yeah, I'd say play with it a touch.
Yeah, but yeah, you like the honey product?
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
seemed pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
No, the only one. The problem is the one I like. I'm not sure where regular people would find it. I've used a product from Son of Sandler, who are a boot maker for like the SCA and LARP and historical reenactment, and they sell some leather care products. They have this thing called Rain, which is their weatherproofing solution, and they have a cleaner, and I like those. You know, they're very similar to the stuff you have, though. I would be willing to bet that a lot of the better leather care lotions actually come down to the basic same prime ingredients.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I would say that if you have a very hard leather sporran, hitting it with a little bit of saddle soap wouldn't be a bad thing. Just don't make that the final step.
Yeah, you can. There are leather cleaners as well. Yeah. If it's, let's say, like this was an old sporran. This is an old sporran. Or
old sporran.
A well-worn sporran, I should say, not that old. I cleaned this first with leather cleaner first, which it frankly was in a shoe kit that I got, like a full like leather shoe, care kit. So I cleaned it with that first and then put the conditioner on. The one thing I would not say is do not polish your sporran or your straps with like shoe polish or leather polish, because that could rub off on the kilt and then stain the kilt. So absolutely do not do that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. That's where I will leave that. Mac, do you have any hints, tips, tricks for any old-timey letter stuff that you have?
I say needs foot, saddle soap.
Yeah,
usually they're always the go-to ones.
Yep.
Because I think saddle soap will only let needs foot soak in some. One of them only lets the other one soak in so much.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet the oil keeps the soap away, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I forget which concoction it is, which way anymore.
That's also, I think, a light solution of saddle soap. You don't ever use that full strength. I think some people will put like, and then that's a mess. But the first time I ever used saddle soap was on an actual saddle.
Nice.
It sucked.
Did it soap?
Yeah, I got it clean. It was a saddle I was restoring at a museum I was volunteering at.
Nice.
And it was
a lot of elbow grease.
It was grunt work. Yeah, it was just like that's what you have the kid do, Oh, you want to volunteer, huh?
You look strong and young.
Yeah, and stupid. Have fun. But needs foot. I forgot to say needs foot.
Yeah, I mean, most of the comments that are coming in are people just like they have different. Like you said, everyone has their own little different concoctions. Mm-hmm. As long as you follow the instructions, you should be good.
Right. Yeah. I will say, if you have a preferred leather cleaning or leather conditioning product, put it in the comments. Let other people know, because we don't know that much. I know enough to be dangerous, but that's it. And B, there's probably YouTube videos on how to clean and how to condition leather. There's got to be, there's so many leather workers out there.
Like we were saying, everybody's got their own magic formula or best practices. So
agreed. Excellent. Hope that helped.
Cool.
All right, Mr. Mac, why don't we throw to, since we're at the middle of the show, our Kilt Ambassador of the Month. Our Kilt Ambassador this month is a special one to me, as he was a friend who recently passed away. He was a longtime kilt wearer, a dedicated community builder, a veteran, and a friend of everyone who had the pleasure of meeting him. Jeffrey Withnell. Jeff was a Marine and a Vietnam War vet. He was an active member of a synagogue in Pittsburgh, where he served on the board and was named the Men's Club Person of the Year in 2020. Jeff's family was his pride and joy. He and his wife Michelle were married for 51 years, and they had 4 beautiful children and 12 grandchildren. Always proud of his Scottish ancestry, Jeff was very active in SAMS, the Scottish American Military Society. He was a member of the Post of the Potomac and a supporter of the Fort McHenry Post. With SAMS, he took part in many ceremonies at the war memorials down in Washington, D.C. Jeff first got intrigued by kilts way back in 2005. Something about the kilt just kind of clicked for him, and he bought his first kilt at the Maryland Renaissance Fair. Jeff's passion for his heritage and the kilt grew stronger over time. Gradually, he became a true serial kilter, proudly wearing his kilt most of the time, even at work on casual Fridays. And while he was acquiring his kilts, Jeff's interest in his Celtic heritage grew as well. He discovered that one of his grandmothers was actually a Davies, so he and Michelle soon joined the Clan Davidson Society. Jeff and his wife were regulars at Celtic festivals and Highland Games in Maryland, in Pennsylvania, and in Virginia. Jeff wore the kilt for all kinds of events, like the Avon Walk for breast cancer, the Alexandria Scottish Christmas Walk, and of course, his many ceremonial activities with Sam's. But kilts aside, there's another reason Jeff stood out. He had a big heart, and he showed it every chance he got. Michelle says, just about everywhere Jeff went, he struck up conversations with complete strangers and was ready to share a story or a joke. Often asked about his kilts, he was always willing to stop and take time to share his knowledge. That is the definition of a kilt ambassador. He shared his passion, his knowledge, and his positivity in every community where he was a member, whether a physical community or a virtual one. He helped guide people new to kilt wearing as a member and moderator on the Kilt Forum, X Marks the Sky. He was an active member of several kilt groups on social media, where his consistent kindness and positivity set him apart. Sometimes you have the privilege of knowing someone who just radiates good cheer, optimism, and love. That was Jeff. Frankly, the kilts were just the icing on the cake. Jeff was not only a good kilt ambassador, he was an ambassador of goodwill. And we could all learn a lot from how he lived his life. I tip my cap to our Kilt Ambassador of the Month, Jeff Withnell. Here's to our good friend Jeff. May he rest in peace.
Sancho.
Yep. Jeff was an awesome, awesome guy. I remember him from, multiple, festivals, coming to our, celebration parties here for when we put the second story on.
Yep.
He's just,
Yep.
he talked to everybody and he just exuded, just fun and happiness. He had a laugh. It was great. He was a great guy.
Yeah, no, I always enjoyed the conversations I had with him. Which is mostly Celtic Classic. The best conversation I had with him, I think, was at the new reopening celebration when he and his wife came down. Yeah, very interesting guy. One of those guys where I think I regret that more stories could not come out of him in the time I had with him. So,
yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Mr. Mack, we are back to you for the questions.
All right, so we have this one coming in from the Twitch.
Ooh, Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
It says, I have an old kilt that doesn't quite fit. What is a good way to upcycle or reuse the fabric?
Old kilt that doesn't quite fit. How to upcycle the
maybe
fabric.
that quite fit is a little bit more than just quite fit. It just
doesn't
doesn't fit.
really fit at all.
Upcycle?
How do you upcycle? I would recycle.
Sell it. Or
yeah.
Give it to somebody who's just getting started and could use a kilt.
Yeah. I am a large proponent of don't let kilts that no longer fit you languish in the closet unless you plan on losing weight. So you have your heavy kilt and you have your light kilt.
Right.
I am for, pushing it forward. So the way I think about, recycling kilts is put it on eBay. Let's say you paid $500 for a kilt. It's a nice 8-yard wool kilt. You can probably recoup half of that. So you probably get $250 if it's in good condition, selling it on eBay. You can put that money towards a new kilt that would fit you better. You're passing on something to someone who's, needing a deal on a kilt. And, you're putting more karma, more good juju out in the world by getting more people into wearing kilts. That said, upcycle a kilt. I don't know. Because
If it's really small, you could put it around your head and wear it like one of those King Tut headdresses.
yeah. No, I'm thinking
What?
you're...
I just had this image of just just like the big long
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. The bangles.
A rain cape.
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
the rain cape? Now, I don't know how much you spent on the kilt. I don't know if it has any history behind it. I've known people who have kilts that they've saved because they have memories wrapped in it, like it was something they wore when they were in the
Wedding
service
kilt
or in a
or-
band or in a wedding, and they'll actually hang it on the wall. We have one downstairs. We have the Scruffy's kilt down in the one changing room. So you could turn it into a piece of wall art. I've seen them put into a frame or something with like some weapons, like a targe and a sword, something like that, just because it looks cool. Get that Highland vibe in your pub, in your basement, If you want to get more radical, you could try unstitching it and use the cloth to make something else out of. And we've had people who are crafty use pieces of kilt fabric for quilting or, other home goods or things like that. Stockings, if you're extremely durable.
Yeah.
Santa stocking. There are things you can do with it if you are completely prepared to dismantle it and cut it up.
But this is actually where I was going to go with next. That's a good segue. If you have an 8-yard kilt, 98% of the time, 99% of the time, the inside of the upper portions of the pleats are actually scalloped out. So you're going to, if you unstitch an 8-yard kilt, take out every single pleat and stretch it all the way out, you're going to have a bunch of U's at the top of the kilt. And those typically, let's say the kilt's 24 inches, the cut out U's will go down 7 inches or so. So you're going to have, in a 24-inch length, you're going to have only, what's 24 minus 7? My math is failing me right now. 15 inches. No. 17 inches. Yes, 17 inches-ish of fabric from the bottom of those cutouts to the bottom of the kilt. So if you're planning on, unstitching the whole thing and stitching it back together or doing something with a full 8 yards at 24 inches, you're not going to get that. You'll get the front apron. You'll get the reverse pleat, or the deep pleat on the edge of the front apron, which will typically be, reasonably deep. You'll get the under apron and a little bit of fabric there at the full 24 inches, but not the entire thing. So if you're going to make 2 throw pillows, maybe, or 1 throw pillow, sure. If you're going to make some sashes out of the long strips in the back of the kilt, sure. But you're definitely limited on what you can do with it because it is cut on the inside.
Yeah, I would seriously consider giving it away.
Yeah.
Before I cut it up, but you might, you could make something out of it.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, what do we got? I'm going to switch over to Bunnahabhain. Try a little bit of this.
Bunnahabhain. Oh, you hadn't switched over. I thought you'd already switched over.
No, that was coffee. This is now. I'm now drinking
coffee. So now the
Aaron
bottle
the Green,
from the back wall is coming into play.
Yep. I didn't have my. Oh, there was a little bit left in there. Oh. Would you like some? Oh, geez, you still got a lot left.
I got this rocket
Not surprising.
fuel.
Rocket fuel, pretty much.
It's still burning my esophagus, man.
Much better.
Rub it in, why don't you?
I will. Not in my kilt, though.
Bastard.
Yeah.
All right. This question is from Micah. I'm a trans woman who is also a huge fan of kilt wearing. However, I don't like the traditional length of kilted skirts, and the thought of wearing a short mini kilt also makes me uncomfortable. I know the kilt is traditionally a men's garment, but what can you suggest for options to add a bit of feminine flair to an outfit? So this is sort of a switcheroo on some of our usual advice.
Yeah. I will let you start with this one.
Okay.
Why don't you go into the
think for a second.
Other flair parts of the outfit?
Yeah, I think that's the key word.
How many pieces of flair do you have on today?
We really need to talk about your flair.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough flair.
I got more than you.
I know.
I got 4 pieces of flair.
I'm repping the company, yo.
The necklace might count as 5.
Exactly.
Okay, so seriously, usually when we're talking about guys wearing a kilt for the first time, my advice is to try and tone down the rest of the outfit and to allow the kilt to do the talking, as I put it, because it is unusual in most of American society. It is very eye-catching, and it is often very colorful. And so the sporran and the kilt around it form a center of attention, and it's like that's the boom, that's the impact you're going to have. So keep the rest of the outfit relatively simple is my usual advice. Like, I always recommend black t-shirts and stuff, just something plain rather than a printed shirt. So if I were going to try and do something, if I was going to try and feminize a man's kilt, and for the record, we have a lot of women who are wearing men's kilts these days. Not everybody is as concerned about the aesthetic of the length as they used to be. It is still very, very much the case that there is a certain length which is considered the masculine length, as opposed to feminine lengths, because there's more than one. But we do have a lot of women who wear a man's length kilt, and even complete construction. So anyway, if you want to feminize it, I would say basically do kind of the opposite of what some of the guys do. I would say more accessories, play around with other aspects of the outfit, like have a more feminine looking top. Consider wearing stockings instead of like kilt hose or not. More feminine type shoes. Either maybe forego wearing the sporran, or do what some gals do, which is wear a smaller sporran or wear the sporran off to the side, to kind of reduce the
centeredness.
Centeredness.
The attention to the crotch.
Thank you. I was trying to think of an elegant way to say it.
I'm not elegant.
Things like that, basically. Kind of like imagine a nice outfit with any old skirt, and then put the kilt in place, and then do the color coordination you would anyway.
Yeah, I've heard you say before that for a man the kilt is the centerpiece of the outfit, and everything else kind of is built around it.
I haven't
where
said that.
Women are building more of a cohesive outfit, and you can accessorize in different ways. So what you just said kind of leans into that same thing of not really just focusing on the kilt, but focusing on what the other parts that you're wearing.
Yeah.
I would kind of say this, to the point you kind of alluded to earlier as well. A man wears a kilt to the knee, period. Men don't wear kilts below the knee. Men don't wear kilts much above the knee.
Right.
It's to the knee. It is a masculine look. So you can't say, I want a feminine look by wearing the kilt to the knee and trying to force, a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work quite that way. If you're wearing a kilt, you can feminize certain aspects of it, but you're still wearing a man's length kilt. And I'm not saying that you can't do it or women can't do it. I'm saying you have to accept that that is the length that is masculine versus lengths that are feminine, which are above the knee or below the knee.
So it could be a drawback.
Exactly.
It could be a drawback.
You're starting with under a false premise ish. The ish. That's why I'm hedging with the ish.
Emphasize the ish.
Yeah. But you can. What I would do is probably either fudge it down a little bit or up a little bit.
That's true.
So traditionally, air quotes, traditionally speaking, a man wears a kilt to the knee, like middle of the knee to top of the knee. That's kind of the accepted range.
Top edge at the navel, or a little above the navel.
Correct. So maybe you wear it an inch above the knee, or if you're not comfortable with that, maybe it's an inch or two below the knee. Not long, but just a little long, because then it starts to look a little bit more feminine.
Yeah, I think I just realized that this factor might be that if this is a person who already had a kilt or kilts before they transitioned, then they're trying to see if they can make use of garments they already own.
How to fudge it, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe they just like the length. So whatever. But if you are a first-time kilt wearer, you don't already own one, you might want to consider, instead of getting a man's kilt, get one of the type of garments for women, which is almost exact or very similar construction. Like we ourselves offer a mini kilt, a midi kilt, and a maxi kilt. Those are 3 different lengths that we offer for the ladies, which have more of a kilt construction in some ways, as opposed to a kilted skirt, which is a bit more of a tube. Is that right? Is that fair to say?
No.
They kind of like come out and just go straight down, right?
No.
With a kilted skirt.
A kilted skirt still it hugs. Both of them should kind of hug a little bit.
Okay.
A kilted skirt, the pleats are narrower and shallower.
Okay.
So it doesn't flare out and it doesn't move as much.
That's what making me think of that. Okay.
The mini maxi are just kind of more an A shape.
Right. They're more of an A line.
Correct.
So you get more
and
of a
they're
flare.
a little bit deeper in the pleats so that they move a little bit more.
Okay.
Correct. But to
Now I get
that
it.
point, to that point, it's still custom made. So whether you're,
Right.
whether you have a badonkadonk or you don't, it's still going to be made to your measurements. The beautiful thing about Highland wear, whether us or somebody else, is that 98% of it is custom made for your measurements. So it doesn't matter whether you have a 3-inch difference between your waist and your hips or a 12-inch difference between your waist and the hips. If it's made properly, it should fit you if it's made for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say, if you already have a pre-existing kilt, de-emphasize it by thinking in terms of what my daughter would call a cord, which is Lolita fashion shorthand for coordinate. J-pop fashion. Thanks, Ren. And if you don't already own a kilt, consider some of the other options, because there's a lot more variety now than there used to be. And I don't know about other people, but I know that our midi, the midis are PV and the maxis are
They're all
wool.
PV and they're all wool.
They are all wool.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just price point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can still get your tartan, and you can match somebody else if you want. So
Yeah, and there's a
Go that
lot
way.
more. There's a lot more fashiony type stuff that is coming out with tartan things. It's the weird thing is in almost every aspect of human nature, the women get the over the top outfits, and the men are stuck in like black or navy. Those are your choices for your suit. In Highland wear, the men are the peacocks, and the women typically have less options. So, however, I think there's a bit of a pushback against that.
A lot.
Exactly, and I think there's a little bit of a pushback against it, and women want to sort of play with it a little bit more now as well. To meld the fashion and the history, and the fashion and their heritage by like, well, I don't want a kilted skirt, but I want to wear an A-line skirt, or I want to wear a longer mini kilt, or I want to wear this, or I want to wear that with tartan. Help me do that.
Yeah.
So I think there's more and more stuff like that is going to come to the fore in the next few years.
Absolutely. I mean, and the fashion trends of the youths are bearing that out, because like I've said before, and I've mentioned this on the website, for all you gals who are looking for stuff, trying to speak your language here, trying to meet you halfway. The two popular styles right now, cottagecore and dark academia, both use skirts like we're talking about, and there isn't as much tartan in them. That's only because there hasn't been as much Celtic stuff added to that vibe, but it's totally made for it. So women are getting into fogey retro fashion just as much as guys are. So the bottom line is, this rising tide of looking at old styles is raising all boats.
Raising all tartans?
Raising all tartans, raising all bog boats, So
yeah, no,
that's basically it.
Absolutely.
And like I always say, if you're new to this, take your time.
Yep.
You can build your confidence and try different outfits, at home.
Play with it. Look for photos online.
Yeah.
See what you like. See what fits your, suits your fancy and what doesn't.
Yep.
Now, is there other? Let's say they haven't gotten any kilts so far, and they're coming. They want to go down that road. And they're still debating on where they want to land, as far as if they want to do something, a midi or a kilted skirt, or a shorter 5-yard or something like that. Is there other accessories potentially they should look at? Maybe heading at more like a shawl or a sash, heading down that road, while they're,
It depends. I think it depends on the kind of the look and the vibe they're going for. I mean, shawls and stoles and ponchos and stuff, they're more floofy. They're definitely more on the feminine side of things, and they're definitely along the lines of, this feels romantic and it might feel cozy, but sometimes it's a pain in the ass if you gotta like do the dishes or pick up your kid or walk your dog or something. So,
and you don't need to wear it with a kilt.
Right.
You can wear that by itself.
Yeah.
Wear a poncho, or wear, like Piper Alley did a video where she like wrapped a belt around a poncho.
Yep.
She wore
that was interesting.
A shawl with a corset or half over top, so it kind of hung down in the back and looked like little cap sleeves.
She's very creative and
very
sharp. So I think that's usually the trade-off I hear, is that basically those things are cool, but because they're a formless garment, they can get in the way.
Yeah.
So as much as I'd like to sell y'all some ponchos, consider
come down to Eric's Poncho Emporium.
The Poncho Villa, you might even say.
Poncho Villa?
Poncho Villa, yeah. That joke sucked.
So horrible.
That joke was horrible.
Oh, I love it.
And it would be Casa de Poncho.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Anyhow, yeah, that's the answer. Is that a lot of the other women's accessories I think are more shapeless, so they're not as day wear ready to wear. I thought you were gonna ask about length, and I was gonna say if I was gonna do anything, I would do the midi because it'd be the most flexible option depending on where you're going.
Yep.
You know, like we say about men's kilts, like going to the grocery store or going to the office or just going to the pub. It's good for that. So I'd say for the women, the midi length is the best.
I think Rocky's landing aircraft.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over there by
It's
the
actually
baggage
my
loader.
horrible voguing. I would potentially do the midi a little bit. I wear it at like lower waist and maybe 2 inches too long. And then if they wanted to wear it a little bit higher, wear it a little bit higher to be at the knee, so you can kind of cheat it up, cheat it down, because it's more A-line. It's not really, there's no rise on it really.
Yeah.
So it might be like construction-wise, that kind of made sense to me a little bit.
But it's definitely construction-wise because everybody's curves are different.
Yes, indeed.
So if your construction matches the garment's construction, have fun with it.
Well, it's custom, so
Yeah, I'm saying,
yeah,
yeah, curves
the belly.
can make fitting challenging. So,
Indeed. Okay.
That was a shaggy dog, but
Yes, we've beaten
this
that
is a
one to
very
death.
interesting question.
Yes,
Okay. Your turn.
Mr. Mac.
All right.
Mr. Mac. Mr. Mac.
Well, I'll continue slightly down this path.
Down this slope.
Sue, on YouTube,
Sutu.
she would like to know if we know an answer to this question. Why do women's kilted skirts buckle on the left instead of the right like men's kilts?
Aha! Caught you, Sue. You fell into our trap. It's a trick question.
It was very
You put
aggressive.
her up to this, didn't you?
Very aggressive towards Sue.
It's a trap.
Run, Sue! Run! I'll hold him back! Run!
It's a trap.
The
I am so freaking tired, guys.
Misa, hold him back, Sue! Oh, I hate Jar Jar Binks so much.
God.
Yeah. He wasn't even in that one. I don't even know I did that. So
I was there the whole time.
it's like the Force Ghost. So it's just different now.
All right. In all seriousness.
Yes. The thing that I find amusing is kilted skirts for women. You can actually do them on both sides. There's no standard.
Exactly.
Most, I would say, about a little over half probably open on the left. Although women's kilted skirts can open on the right as well. The ones that we make, typically we make on the right. The reason being, making it open on the left, you end up with more fabric bunched up your sewing machine. A right-handed sewing machine. I don't know if are there left-handed sewing
I
machines?
think there are.
I think we looked into this before.
I don't know if there's any,
they're
but
not.
they're
but
few and far
sewing
between.
machine.
A sewing machine, as I'm sitting in front of it, it's the arm here, and the bulk of it is over here. So you're looking at the back side. So for the front side, for those mirror image, it's the arm, and then the main part of the machine's here. The needle goes up and down here. So when I'm sewing a kilt, all the pleats are coming off to this side as I'm sewing them and advancing pleat after pleat after pleat. So the bulk of the fabric sits in my lap, and then I'm just sewing one pleat and then more. When you get towards the end of the kilt or the kilted skirt, the stuff is kind of leaning off the table this way. I'm not worried about getting it underneath the arm of the sewing machine. If you sew the other direction, you end up kind of having like roll up the kilted skirt. The bulk of the fabric is over here, kind of falling off of the table, and you're sewing the pleats backwards from how you sew them for a kilt, and you're kind of bunching up the fabric underneath the thing. I find it a bit more awkward. Mac, I don't know if you find it the same way, but it's more awkward to kind of sew it backwards like that. Mm-hmm. So we end up just what we have said is, nope, women can wear it. Well, women can wear it opening either direction. So because this is easier for us as kilt makers, we're doing it this way. The other time that kind of comes into play is on the very, very few instances where I've done a reverse Canusi pleating, where half the pleats go one direction, half go the other direction. You're kind of folding them up weird underneath the machine. So yeah, you don't have to go one direction or the other. Women's stuff is a little more universal. You can go both directions. Men's kilt, I've even heard, are like if you're in Scotland, 50, 100 years ago, were a little bit universal from the fact that they would, if the front apron got destroyed, they would just reverse the aprons to save the garment.
Hey, that
but
makes a lot of sense.
It's not really done that much. So maybe like 0.25% of kilts might have the apron going the other direction. But for women's kilted skirts, it's about, let's say 60-40-ish for opening from the left versus opening from the right.
Yeah, I can't perceive that there's any real advantage to it either way.
Nope. And the weird thing is, some of the kilted skirts that I've seen that open from the left still have the pleats going the same direction. It's they start with a box pleat and then reverse the pleat pattern immediately and then go all the way around to the other side. Max, is that the same thing you've seen?
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
Because they have that same problem with jamming all the stuff underneath the machine.
This is how they're getting around it. Okay.
Yep.
Huh.
But it's a pain in the ass to do it that way. Why force it if it doesn't have to be?
It might be if it was a convention, I would say it's an artificial difference, kind of like how women's buttons
Or
are
zippers
the
or
opposite
whatever.
from men's, which I don't think there's any truth to it, but it theoretically goes back to this myth that guys would button their own shirts, whereas women had a ladies' maid who would do the buttoning for them. You heard that one, Mac? I think
never
it's an
heard
urban
that.
legend, but yeah.
Somebody in the comments made a reference to kind of that.
Yeah,
where
I'm pretty sure. I don't know where that came from, except some manufacturer decided it was a good way to differentiate product. But the myth, if I'm wrong, somebody who's a fashion history nerd tell me.
There's
but
reasons
the
out
whole
there.
idea that like your shirt is like that because you're buttoning your own shirt, whereas women had a maid to do it for them. So you never heard of a valet, dude? You never.
Yeah.
I have a valet. Don't you have a valet?
Zippers go the opposite direction as well. And I have a jacket from it's a Mountain Hardware, is the British brand that has
Yes.
a store and the thing.
Yep.
Yes, it is a British brand, and the zipper is on the other side, and it drives me freaking nuts every time I try to put that jacket on.
But again, that's an American.
I know it's an
UK
American
thing.
versus UK thing. Yeah,
it's like the toilets.
their
Yeah,
toilets.
Spinning on one way. And
That's Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
oh,
They've had their toilets upside down in the UK.
Well, if you're on Greenwich Mean Time, you're at the median, then the water just goes straight down.
it just vacuum sucks down.
Yeah.
like one of the tubes at the bank.
Oh, that's at the equator. I'm sorry, it's at the equator. It just goes straight down. No swirlies.
No, I'm picturing somebody getting stuck on a toilet. Like, oh, it hurts! Stop! The vacuum got me. Or like an airplane. Everyone's scared of that. Yeah.
I hope that answered
Never
your
mind.
question, Sue.
Oh, that was it. Oh, yeah.
I would say the bottom line is don't worry about that difference. If you decide there's a tartan and a design and the price point and all that for the skirt you want, buy the skirt.
Yeah.
It's not wrong or right either way where it closes.
Yep. Did we answer the question?
I think we did.
Okay.
We said there's no real reason why.
Yeah.
So,
Indeed. All right.
okay. Working down the list here. All right. Okay.
So much better. Oh.
Okay. This gentleman wrote us a bit of a paragraph, so bear with me.
A diatribe, if you will.
Matt Milne says, "Hello from Ontario, Canada. Wanted to know what Rocky and the team think about the Glen Affric tartan and whether the STA will make this tartan open to the public to have woven. Also, if they do you think they will try to analyze what the original colors would have looked like before being buried in peat for hundreds of years? So exciting to hear that we now have a new oldest tartan fabric remnant. Cheers, and thanks for all the amazing knowledge you share with us."
Slaja.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. Kind words.
And yeah, this is the hottest news in the kilting world in the past 10 years or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like,
There was a piece of tartan that was found in a peat bog that was gifted to the Scottish Tartans Authority years and years and years ago. And it just kind of sat with the STA. And recently they had it analyzed for carbon dating kind of thing. And they found out that it actually is like 500-ish years old, which makes it now the oldest known piece of Scottish tartan. So, and they had it, I think, cleaned and stuff recently to try to take some of the staining from the peat bog out of it. So it's kind of like this creamy looking piece of cloth with a bit of stripes in it. and you can tell that there was different colors in it. They did do a bit of analysis, and they believe that it was like green and red and black and a few different colors. I don't know exactly what the colors were within it yet, and like in what sequence, in what order, and that kind of thing. I did reach out to one of the mills, and I kind of spoke to them because a lot of people have been contacting us saying like, hey, is this going to be available?
Yeah.
Or are any of the mills going to weave it? Are you guys going to weave it? Can I get my hands on this thing? I think someone will do it. There's enough people interested in it that we started talking to one of the mills saying like, hey, would this be a possibility? And what knowledge do we have? What knowledge is available that we can get a very close, reasonable approximation of what it would have looked like? I don't want something that's just going to be like, yeah, sure, this is what it looked like, just buy it kind of thing. I would want it to be, reasonably authentic looking.
Like the Claude and Tartan?
Yeah, the Claude and Tartan's an example where like the colors were interpreted, shall we say, and it's kind of off from what it actually was. But we started speaking to the mills about potentially doing something. So I would say watch this space. Now, will the STA release it? It's in discussions with Bill from House of Edgar. I said, do you think we could have access to either if someone actually does a thread count, or can we approximate a thread count based on the set size, based on the colors, based on the actual a close-up image, which frankly wouldn't be difficult to recreate. What Bill said was, look, the cloth is 500 years old. If there was any copyright on it, he's dead. It's okay. So, this is no slight to the Scottish Tartans Authority or to any of the historians or anything like that. There would be no copyright on it because it's just a piece of cloth that was found, quasi recently, like within the last 20, 30, 40 years, from 500 years ago. So there is no copyright in it. There are no restrictions on it. The question becomes, what were the colors in it? How close of a recreation to it do we think we could actually get? And then is there an interest in it from the general public to have something recreated? And how does that process work, as far as bringing it forth for public, so to speak?
Is there any sense of it looks very similar to any other known or common tartans? Has anybody speculated like, oh wow, it looks a lot like the Macduff tartan? I mean,
I haven't heard any speculation as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
Mainly because it just looks cream. Like you could tell what was black, and you can tell that there's like two or a few shades of like cream, like what has essentially been left as a creamy color, and I'm using this phrase very, very loosely. You could tell that it was different colors, but a lot of it's been washed out. A lot of the dyes are no longer there, but there's hints of it. So if you can get a good enough photo and say, okay, here's, this one, this cream has like a greenish hue, this cream has like a pinkish hue, this cream has a bluish hue. Okay, fine. Now we can know essentially where those colors would be within it. But there's no hard and fast released data on, yep, we have confirmed this is the actual thread count, these are the actual colors, this order, and that kind of thing.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, correct.
Okay.
But we're trying. We're inquiries have been made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I want one.
Yeah. Everybody I've talked to wants one.
Yeah.
So
now it's neat. It's exciting to have something that old come forward, especially something that's we've actually known about. Well, yeah, I mean, the STA has known about for a longish period of time, and now it's like, oh, this is actually 400 years old. Maybe we should do something with this. So it's awesome. It's news now. It's like, I don't know. It's just cool. I love the history aspect.
Yeah,
of it.
exactly. This is why it's a minor soapbox is like support museums, support educational institutions, and archiving, because you never know what new research and new facts you can glean from an old artifact. It's vastly important that we preserve these specimens properly, and the digs be done properly, things be documented. We make sure we're not losing more archaeological sites. We make sure that things are being re-examined and assumptions challenged as we go forward. That's science, folks. So, yeah, it's wonderful. This is wonderful. I hope more stuff like this happens. You know?
Not only good students of the culture, good stewards of the culture.
Oh, yes.
Indeed. Oh, yes. Very wise. Very wise. I'm not that wise. No, but yes, absolutely. Once this stuff is kind of tossed out because, that's too stained. I don't need this. You'll never be able to get that kind of stuff back.
Or things that get lost in the archives.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep. Indeed.
Don't be Heinrich Schliemann.
Yeah, Heinrich.
That's a joke for the archaeology nerds out there.
Indeed. Very good.
Tell me in the comments if you actually get that joke.
All right, Mr. Mack.
One quick question. Do you guys know where the location of where that was found originally?
No.
Besides in a box in the...
in a box in the back room of the STA. You're welcome. No, it's probably, I know there's been several articles written about it. It's escaping me now. It may be in one of the articles. The only thing that's sticking out in my mind was that it was in a bog and that it's been with the STA for years.
So
but
Glen Afric isn't a clue? I mean...
Hey, I have a clue.
I didn't
Maybe it was found
It's
in
called the Glen Afric
Afric?
tartan. Oh, wait. Was it Chisholm? Yeah. It was found in Glen Afric.
Lands which were controlled by the
Correct.
Okay.
I think Peter
Chisholm clan lands.
One of the people that was interviewed about this was either Peter McDonald was one, and the current director of the STA was another one. Somebody said that it was found on Chisholm lands. Chisholm is how you spell it. How you pronounce it is Chisholm. Chisholm lands in Scotland, in Glen Afric, Scotland.
Right.
But they are very careful not to say that it is a Chisholm tartan. It was found in lands controlled by them, but it is not. I don't know exactly where the location is.
Well,
of
and
the
just
particular
because they
bog.
found it there doesn't mean that it wasn't a possession of somebody who came there from somewhere else.
Yep.
So the exact provenance of where it was woven, I don't know if we'll ever know.
And frankly, 500 years predates most clan-specific tartans. So, yeah.
Well, the reports that I'm getting all of a sudden now from outside that door and on here are about 19 to 15 miles west of Loch Ness. So
There you go.
So it's
19 to
Nessie's
15
tartan.
miles. Yeah, exactly.
so maybe this piece actually saw Nessie.
Interesting. Or Nessie's grandfather, perhaps.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I can't imagine handling or being close to a specimen like that, honestly. But I mean, I am one of those people who gets a buzz sometimes from being around
Oh,
certain artifacts, just like the books.
Yes, exactly where I'm going.
He's even paranoid to talk
Yes.
about it.
Oh, I'm scared. There's a fan of the show contacted us and said, "Hey, I have the Costumes of the Clan books from McKeon and Logan from 1845 and 1847. He won them in an auction at Sotheby's and said, "Hey, would you guys like to see these?" And mailed them to us. He's nuts for doing that, first of all.
Mail them.
But he mailed them to us, and we got them, and they are beautiful, beautiful books. The artwork in the books is still freaking pristine, but they are fragile, and I am scared to death. I'm like, oh, I don't want to touch these. These scare the hell out of me. They're sitting in my office, tucked away in the corner, so light isn't on them, no moisture is near them. I am scared to death. I can't wait for this gentleman who is stupid for trusting us to come to the shop to pick them up because I want them gone. I'm scared to death. But these historical artifacts are beautiful. I'm just scared to death to touch the damn things. Mm-hmm. Yes, it speaks to my respect for the items and my non-trusting of myself to handle such items.
I just get a buzz off of handling.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's the things that the books have seen, or for the tartan.
Yeah.
It's the importance of these items, and it's just wow, this is so cool that it's right here.
Yeah.
But I'm scared to death that I'm going to be the dude to screw it up. Get it away.
You want me to take him?
No, I don't trust anyone.
I'll keep him in my house. It's a good
No,
garment.
my wife was like, oh, I would love to see the Bonnie Prince Charlie. Bring it home. And I'm like, nope. It doesn't leave my office. I will get in an accident. My car will burn in a fiery wreck. No, if you want to see these, get to my office and see them. I'm not taking them home. God, my son will spill fruit punch on it or something. God, no. No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No. Yes.
Chocolate fingers.
Right?
Yeah, these pages are stuck together. Hold on.
or he starts coloring it in.
Yes.
Daddy, there's no castle in this picture of the Scottish person, so I put
I
a
need to
castle
draw a
in.
sun. Look, Mommy, I made it better. No. No, one of the coolest things, like this, specifically the books we have, we're off topic now, who cares?
You're so totally off topic.
The books that we have we are currently in possession of, they are not ours.
We're stewards of temporarily.
Exactly. The coolest thing was these books often were actually ripped apart because the art that was in the books, and people took all the artwork off or out to frame it. So not many of these books survived.
Yep.
So that's what's like, exorbitant fees were paid for these books, but it is beautiful books. Absolutely. Yes, we're planning on doing a piece on them at some point. We took a ton of photos of them. Like Adam was scared in the studio taking photos of the books. We had like I had to buy like the official angle book things. We had to prop them up so we're not screwing up the seams, and you had to like camera weird angles. Yeah.
They remind me a bit of my family's oldest Bible, actually. Which is actually older than those books, but still a similar vibe.
Dang.
Similar vibe, yeah. Nice. Well, I mean, it's got like the metal buckle straps on it and everything.
Nice.
It's a beast.
Nice.
But, yeah. Anyhow.
All right.
Oh wait, it's Rocky. It's Rocky's turn. It's Mac's turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's always my turn.
So, speaking of driving in a car, Rich on YouTube is asking, I found that wearing a sporran while driving can be uncomfortable and awkward with a seatbelt. Are there any quick release sporran chains or any other options that he could do while he gets in the car?
I got 3 right off the top of my dome. 1, sporran strap. If you wear a sporran strap like I have on here, you can just slide it to the side. You don't have to worry about it. 2, take off the damn sporran.
Every sporran chain is a quick release because you have a little clippy ring.
Yep.
Here, just
You have those little tiny clips on the back of the sporran that hook onto the D-rings. Number 1, always clip those away from the kilt. So if they scratch anything, they scratch the back of the sporran. They do not, pick at the front of the kilt. You do not have to, like when I wear a sporran chain, I don't actually adjust the chain and the belt in the back. I do that once, and then I disconnect it from the back of the sporran. I hold the sporran up and out a little bit in front of me, and I just disconnect it.
same.
If you're really, it bothers you and you want an easier way to do it, there's something called scissor clips, which are a similar type of mechanism, which you can, it's going to take a little bit of doing, but you can get them small-ish, let's say like that long, where it's like literally one button push down, and there are 2 hooks that kind of, do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you can use those on the back of the sporran, or even just one of them. Just disconnect that one particular side.
Oh, that's true.
But you need them...
They're a little bulky, but...
Correct, they're a little bit bulky, and you need them short enough that they don't stick out beyond the side of the sporran, but you could do something like that.
It's an interesting idea. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
I do my best.
Yeah, I have a key fob from Lee River.
Okay.
That has that. It's the scissor clip.
Yep.
Putting the keys on. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the official name for it. So if you want to Google it, something like Weaver Leather, I think used to sell them. There's a few that were Tandy Leather. There's another one. They sell scissor clips, but you'll have to figure out a way to get the chain attached to the bottom of it.
Honestly, I've never personally had a problem with just undoing the clip from the sporran chain in the front. I mean, that's what I do. Same like you. I learned it from you.
Yeah.
But I do that with.
I learned it by watching you. All right.
I almost never adjust the buckle on my sporran chains unless I'm going from wearing the sporran chain with a wool kilt and then go to a PV kilt because there's so much less bulk. I just have to tighten it up a little bit. But your other point, I'm surprised you're not making yet, is sporran chain buckles and car seats. You might want to mention that.
Every time we go to a Celtic Classic, there's an announcement. Every time I have my entire 5-person crew get in the car.
Boarding announcement.
Boarding announcement, exactly. Flip your sporran chain over. What I learned was, when I used to wear my sporran chain, and it had the little buckle in the dead center back of the kilt. I had my first Chevy Avalanche, and I like literally ate a hole in the leather seat because the little like swing arm on the buckle, the tongue on the buckle would sit on the leather seat. So like sliding in or sliding out and kind of moving around, it would just scratch and scratch and scratch at the leather. So I took to every time I got in the car, I would literally just take my back of my sporran chain and flip it over so that the tongue was hitting the back of my kilt. And then you get out of the truck and you flip it back over to the other direction. So yeah, every time people get in my vehicle wearing a sporran, I make an announcement. If I have leather seats, flip your damn sporran chain over. Don't ruin my seats.
I'm so sorry.
I know. How dare
I'm so sorry.
And the problem is now I do it automatically getting in my vehicle now. And I don't have, I didn't have leather seats, and I still did it. I'm like, I gotta flip it over. I want Rocky yelling at me.
Exactly. Same.
He's hitting his nightmares. No, I'm sorry, Rocky. Stop hitting me.
Flip the sport chain. It's like
Or
the
you
Karate
die.
Kid. Flip the sport chain. Sweep the pleats. Sweep the leg.
Indeed.
But yeah, so yeah, there are a couple ways you can just take a sporran off
just
when you're
hack it.
driving.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. We'll do one more. Remember, folks,
Goodness gracious!
quick
Look at the
reminder
time.
announcement. It is 4:50 right now, 4:51 according to that clock right there below the camera. Remember, after this show airs, 5:05, we are going to be doing our premiere of Loose Threads. Yes, it's our new shortish form content. I think it's like 13 minutes long. It's bite-sized. It's fun. It's fast-paced. Behind-the-scenes type content of all of us here doing random dumb stuff. So stay tuned to YouTube and or Facebook. Right after the show, watch our thing. Yes.
Fast and the Furriest.
And Dak. Exactly.
Bite size or fun size?
Both.
More fun size. Well, there might be shorter episodes that are bite sized, but this is more fun size, I think.
Fun-sized is bullshit. A fun-sized candy bar is a big candy bar. Not the tiny thing, not 1.5 bites. Fun-size is big. I hate you, Hershey's. With my candy bars.
Matt, save that to make a TikTok out of it for Halloween season.
Need bigger candy bars.
All right, Sean Smith, friend of the channel.
He was just in the show.
He was just
in the store. Excuse
He's
me.
going to be in the show. Questions in all caps. Number 1, where is Rocky hiding the candy now? Number 2, what is the deactivation code for the laser grid he installed to deter Kirk Kinnaman from getting the candy? Number 3, when can we expect to see other color leather straps and metal kilt fittings?
Okay.
One of those questions is not like the other.
Where is he hiding the candy? The candy is hid in a vault in the shipping area, underground, guarded by lasers and wolves.
Wolves, okay.
And honey badgers, because they don't give up. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Indeed. Second question was what?
I
forget already.
What's the deactivation code for the laser grid that deters Kirk Kinnaman?
The deactivation code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's amazing. That's the same combination as my luggage.
That was planned. You're welcome. For those who love
Thank you.
Spaceballs. Yes. Yeah. Acting.
Okay, but for seriously.
I thought he was high-fiving me.
Yeah. Oh, no. When can we expect to see other color leather straps and metal fittings for kilts? He's referring to like browns and nickel plating and stuff instead of chrome.
Yep. We talked about this before. We are planning on doing brown leather straps and maybe doing 2 or 3 total, like 3 total, 2 other metal buckle finishes for kilts. We occasionally get asked for them, not a ton, but we occasionally get asked for them. I've seen a few companies start to offer different color straps, so we started playing around with it. We did get samples in. Turns out we had our sporran maker, who also does a bunch of leather stuff for us, make embossing plates for us, and the embossing plate kind of broke after the samples. So We're having brass embossing plates made so that it will take 1 billion hits from the clicker, whacker, jigger, and stand up to more pressure and more hits, and therefore they are on their way. It is just delayed. So,
Cool.
yes, that was a very short question.
Yeah. And self-centered, so not the ones
Yes,
we usually do.
indeed.
but
So let's do one more because we have
Too
5 minutes to go.
much pressure.
Okay, Mac, do we have anyone else?
We do.
Okay, do one more.
Probably the best YouTube name I sell today, Big Daddy Chatty on YouTube,
Okay.
is
Big Daddy Chatty.
Big Daddy Chatty.
That sounds like a trucker handle
I want to say
or a
Chatty Daddy.
CB radio. Yes.
Are there any bucket list Highland Games or Celtic festivals within the in the U.S. y'all would like to visit?
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
U.S. All right.
'Cause
Let's do U.S. and then world. We'll do all of them.
Okay.
U.S. There's Estes Park, Colorado is one that I've seen a lot of good musicians say that they're going to. So I'd kind of like to see that, and I've never been to Colorado. I'd say Colorado Estes Park is probably my U.S. one.
I'd agree.
If I had to pick one, I've heard a ton of good things about Smoky Mountain, Kirk Kinnaman. I know you're on the board down there. Loon Mountain is another good one up in Vermont. Grandfather Mountain's been around for a long time, and that one's like you got to caravan up there and you camp there essentially. There's like no cars up there kind of thing. So those are the ones U.S. that I would probably want to see. I'd want to see one in California randomly. I don't know any in California. There are. I just don't know any
there's
names.
a LA one. I forget the name, but
Yeah, I'd want to see one in California just to like do one on the beach or something. Yeah, and
caber tossing is a special. They actually toss it into the ocean. And
Exactly.
It floats back, and it didn't go far enough.
and maybe one in like I'd love to see one in Texas, just because Texas like they do everything bigger in Texas. So I'd love to see one in Texas.
Scottish barbecue in Texas.
Barbecue haggis.
I was gonna say haggis and
Smoked
haggis
haggis.
and barbecue.
Now,
No, haggis and barbecue.
damn it! Now we got to call Jason.
Yeah.
All right, yours.
Loon Mountain intrigues me because I love Vermont
yeah.
and Colorado. Yes, my ringer is I wanted to do one in California because my sister lives out there, and I think it'd be awesome to be able to go to one with my sister.
Okay.
So I've never actually gone to one with her, so I think that would be awesome.
Okay.
And she can't travel much, so I would go out there rather than making her come here. Even though we have one of the best festivals in the world right here at Celtic Classic in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Fight
Ding, ding, ding. Winner, chicken dinner. Yes. My favorite is still Celtic Classic in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
always will be. It's
Yep.
home.
Yep.
It's home.
Pretty
now,
much.
World.
World. Damn it. See, I can't pick one. So I'm not
can.
going to pick one.
I can.
I would like to. Here's my point, though. I would like to see one in on several continents. I would love to see one in Scotland, like the Braemar games. I'd love to see like a
I was
huge
gonna say
one.
Braemar. You stole my answer.
Sorry, that's my job. I'd love to see the Braemar games because it's a very, very old, well-established one. I'd love to see how the Scots do it. Also, I want to see how the Germans do it. I want to see how Australians do it. I want to see how the Japanese do it. I want to see how like South Africans do it. I want to go that's what we need to do. A USA
Kilts World Tour.
World Highland Games tour of one on each continent or in a bunch of different countries, just to see how other countries in the
Are you
diaspora.
sure there's a Highland
do
Games
it.
in every single?
Not in there. No. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no
Right.
idea. But
Right.
I like with the amount of kilts and like customers that we have in Japan. There's gotta be. I know there's stuff in Australia for sure. I know there's stuff in Germany for sure because Bill Whelan talked about it when he was here. So there's gotta be a ton of different ones.
Okay, fine. If you pay for the plane ticket, I'm there.
I'll
I'm not gonna
get
be
right
picky.
on that.
If it's free, I'm not gonna be picking.
Absolutely, Mac. What's your
See, now you
bucket
just got
list
me
one?
thinking about food again. Like,
I know.
Right?
I know. I am hungry.
like haggis on the eating haggis like kangaroo haggis down in Australia. Like let's mash this stuff together. Let's go all in.
Kangaroo
You
haggis.
think is that actually a thing?
I don't know, but let's give
not?
it a
Let's
whirl.
do
I
it.
wouldn't think so because I mean they raise a lot of sheep in Australia, Mac. So they probably have haggis.
I don't care, but we don't have it on the barbie.
Mac just
though.
wants to kill kangaroos. Why don't we kill some koalas while we're at it, Mac? Just
I bet they're
cut their little
delightful
heads
too.
off.
I would enjoy them.
All right. Gentlemen, I'm going to point out we got 5 minutes before the
Yes.
new share
Okay.
is. We should give people a chance to go to the bathroom.
Yes. Question of the day. Please, this is question/request of the day. Please watch the new show premiering on YouTube in 5 minutes. If you're watching this a year later, I don't know. Go look up Loose Threads and tell me what you think. We want to know what you guys think of the new content. We're trying to do more behind-the-scenes stuff, short-form stuff to keep it light, interesting, fun, punchy. Let me know what you think of the new show.
This is a beta test.
Indeed.
It's a beta.
Go hit the head real quick. Get over to YouTube. Watch the show. Until next time, boys and girls.
Sláinte